Well, hello again. This is John Byrne with Poets&Quants. We're going to continue our discussion on undergraduate education by focusing on careers. We're calling this From Campus to Careers. We have two representatives who know all about undergraduate careers at the Gies College of Business and at the Farmer School of Business. The Farmer School is obviously at Miami University, and the Gies College of Business is at the University of Illinois. So representing Gies, we have Christina Wright, who's Director of Office of Career and Professional Development. And from Miami Farmer, we have Michael Webb, who is the Director of Career Development. Welcome. So one of the points I was making in our earlier panel discussion on admissions is one reason why, and I think it's a major reason, frankly, why so many people want to major in business is because you can get a job when you graduate. But more important than that, business schools actually devote considerable resources to professionalizing young people, to helping them develop a career, to helping them learn the basics of networking that will be useful to them throughout their professional lives. So I wonder if we can just start with an overview of your career development program. How does the process work? How quickly do you get involved with incoming students? And what do you do with them? Christina, let's start with you at Gies.
Yeah, happy to talk a little bit about our career development office and how it's integrated here into our curriculum. Here within Gies, we actually jump right into career development. All of our introductory students take our Business 101 course. And within that course, by the second week, I've come to visit already to talk a little bit about our unique program called the Gies Professional Pathway. This program outlines 10 competencies that employers say are most important for professionals. And so we introduce this right away when you join our B101 course and revisit this each year as you move through our curriculum. In addition to that, of course, we are having you go to our first career fair and making sure you've got a great resume by your third week of class. So we're putting a lot of support to students from the very beginning all the way through the end of the process when they are transitioning out to their full-time career and making sure they feel really confident and prepared that they have the right skills and are equipped to be successful in that career.
And there is an actual careers curriculum, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes, yes. In addition to the Geese Professional Pathway, which outlines these competencies, we follow our own unique curriculum to ensure that students have adequate time to explore careers, understand what they're interested in, their values, understand their purpose, and go out there and test some things out, have an internship, participate in experiential learning before they make big decisions about where they want to land and start their career.
And Michael, at Farmer, what does the process look like?
So it's actually fairly similar. We have our Biz 106 class where all freshmen need to attend first semester. It's required to go to career fair. I actually just came from career fair, so but it's required they have that experience. They're taught early on all of the fundamentals. So how to write an effective resume, how to write an effective cover letter, how to present themselves to an employer in an elevator pitch. How to acquit themselves in front of an employer, how to actually speak to an employer, because those communication skills are the number one lacking thing that employers consistently say. Students across the board, that's what they need more of, are those basic communication skills. So we really start with all of the basics. We capstone that course with what we're calling our ME conference, which is our major exploration conference, where we have employers come in and talk about in panel discussions what they do and what they majored in and how they've leveraged it in their careers. And we want students to be able to see those pathways as well as network with those employers. We really place a huge emphasis on networking. We set goals throughout the student's career where establish connections and meaningful connections. And like Christina, we've identified in conjunction with a a consultancy firm, 6 really great high impact practices that are integrated not only into that 106 course, but also through each piece of the curriculum, because we don't have our own careers curriculum, but we make sure that those are embedded in classes throughout the student's career.
Now, you mentioned the career fair, and I wonder if you could explain what is a careers fair?
So it's kind of a madhouse, but they are a lot of fun. And basically, it is where employers will come from all over that are interested in hiring students, and that goes from freshmen all the way through seniors for both internships and full-time opportunities. And students have the chance to go interact directly with those employers, present their resumes, get to know the employers, understand what that employer is looking for, and see if it matches what they're looking for. And then hopefully get the interview that's going to secure them the internship that's going to secure them the job they want.
Right. Perfect. Now, Christina, I wonder, in terms of skill sets, what employers are looking for today and how your program delivers on those skill sets.
Mhm. I love this question because we often focus on some of the hard and technical skills that you might gain in a business school, and certainly really valuable education here within our classroom. But I think importantly, like Michael mentioned earlier, some of those professional skills, people used to like to call them soft skills, are equally as important, if not more important, for success in your career. And we've identified 3 categories of skills, and we call those our professional skill sets, and those include things like critical thinking and problem solving that allow you to tackle work problems and issues. And we have what we call our people skills that allow you to work effectively with others, so teamwork, leadership. And then our final set of skills is going to be our purpose skills. And those are being able to manage your own career development, having self-exploration, so understanding your strengths and values. And we hear that this series of skills is all equally important to most of our employers, coupled with that technical knowledge as well. So you will have to learn Excel no matter what business school you go to. That's still going to be a really important skill set, but being able to communicate and interpret that data and tell a story with it is really important.
Now, here's what I find interesting about what you said. You said nothing about accounting, finance, statistics, marketing, strategy, or leadership. You really focused right there on what do employers want, what do employers need, and what are they looking for in candidates, which is the real pathway to getting them a job. Michael, I'm assuming other similar skill sets that are developed at your school at Farmer for your students as well, right?
Very similar. We take that approach on soft skills, and we've retooled our curriculum to really emphasize that early on. So instead of having several different courses that are teaching career specific, the fundamental resume development, we are really pivoting some of those classes to talk about professional writing, how to make a presentation, how to tell the story. It's funny, we talk to employers all the time. We ask, what does the student need to have to be successful? Well, they need to be able to talk to people. They need to be able to get in front of a client and present themselves. If they know Excel, we can teach them the rest. And it always cracks me up because Excel is what, a 30-year-old program, but it's still the gold standard. Know Excel, know it inside and out. But the hard skills, the technical skills, they can teach. It's those the communication skills, understanding the right fit. Are you in the right field? Because not everybody should be a consultant for sure. And just like not everybody should be an analyst or go into sales. So understanding that fit early on is really helpful.
And Michael, if you had to say what employers most appreciate about the Farmer's graduate, what would it be?
I think the top 2 things we hear are the level of professionalism that they bring to the table. They integrate very well. They are business ready day one. And the other side is that they are really well-rounded in their skill set. And we take that very holistic approach You have to touch on every major. You have to take a set of courses outside of the school to where you are not just a business robot. You have to be able to have a diverse skill set and a diverse background.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, I will just build on what you said about their business ready from day one. You know, the years are gone when corporations would hire young talent and rotate them through a number of jobs and literally train them and not expect anything from them for 6 months to a year. Employers are looking for job-ready people who can contribute fairly quickly and make a difference in the job. And that's a real key advantage of a business education, and why you know, business education is so desirable today over many other majors, including the majors I had in political science and English, where I would have had to be trained to make a contribution in a business. And that's really not true when you graduate from a great business school. Now, Christina, what do you think employers most appreciate about your grads?
Well, I definitely would want to highlight our problem solving skills. So many of our students have both consulting experience through organization or internship, where they are working with real clients, you know, solving real world problems. In addition to that, all of our students take our Business 301 course, where they do work on a client team with an actual client to solve a problem. So our students are leaving here with really fantastic problem solving skills. They're not just reading a textbook and a case study, they're actually spending a full semester, if not multiple semesters, working on these projects. And I would highlight the other skill is our communication skills. We put a lot of focus on storytelling, both personal storytelling, you know, being able to talk about what you've done and how it fits with what an employer is looking for, but also that professional storytelling. How do you present the client's story and their challenge, and how do you talk about the solutions in a way that is engaging and effective? So I would say, you know, based on the real world experience our students have had, communication and problem solving skills are real strengths of our students.
Yeah. Now, internships are often a key part of landing a job offer at graduation.
Mhm.
And they're a key part of just gaining experience and building your resume. What percentage of your students participate in internships during their college experience? And can you talk us through how they found those opportunities, Christina?
Yeah. We capture a lot of feedback around the internship experience through a survey that our students take. And while I don't have a number of exactly what percentage of students take an internship, it's a large majority. The large majority of our students do secure an internship, if not more than one internship. Many of our students are securing internships following their sophomore year to give them an opportunity to explore multiple career options. We have a really fantastic tool, and it's used on other campuses, called Handshake. And this is our job board, and students can hop on our job board and see internships that are really designed for college students. We are able to create our own collections within Handshake, so our students can go in and see hand-picked opportunities that we've identified to be a good fit for our students. And so it helps to make a process where there are thousands of opportunities seem much more manageable, much more curated for our students, and certainly through our network. So many of our students find opportunities through our alumni, through the organizations they join in affiliation with Gies. So there's plenty of opportunities for internships for our students and lots of resources to help them manage the process.
Michael, how would you answer that?
It's actually very similar. We track our internships regularly through surveys. 95 to 98% yearly is usually the mark we hit. And I think it's probably fairly accurate for Gies as well. I know they do a great job. So, and the process for us, we really emphasize trying to get an internship after the sophomore year that is somewhat experimental. Maybe a student is between a few careers. I don't know if I want to go into social media marketing or brand management. Get an internship in one. If you don't like it, great. You've got your junior year internship. And that's really the one we want them to find their niche work with a company that they love, work in a position they love, and convert that to a job offer so they can enjoy their senior year instead of having to try and fight through it. As far as the connections, how those students are getting it, we use Handshake as well. It's kind of, I think, the gold standard across most college campuses. It's a fantastic tool, and like Christina, we do the collections, especially for our students, and really segment those out. The Miami Alumni Network is unbelievably powerful. They love to give back. We'll get calls on a regular basis from alumni saying, I have this opportunity. I would really like to hire a Miami grad specifically for it. Can you get it out in front of the students? And I'm glad Christina mentioned the business orgs as well. We have, I want to say 53 just in the business school, and they are so powerful. There are some that with the commercial banking club, I don't have to worry about those students because they are so well connected in their field that I know they're going to be safe in getting jobs. We generally don't have to interface with them. And that's great to have the power of those organizations that students can leverage.
Let's talk a little bit about the most recent graduating class, with placement rates, what kind of careers they entered. Michael, can you give us a sense of that at Farmer?
Yeah, we started and this is as much data as students will give us sometimes, so it can get a little dicey. Right around graduation, we were sitting at about 92%. As we've increased and researched over the summer, we're closer to 96%. We anticipate probably topping off in that 97 to 98, which is fairly typical at the 90-day mark or so. Looking at students that have secured secured jobs over the summer, but maybe have not told us about them. So, and that's fairly typical. Where they land, the ABCs, the accountancy, banking, consultancy, those are the typical. That's kind of the most common. But considering the majors, we have the finance students, the marketing students, and economic students, they go everywhere. And we try to get them to understand those ABCs are not for everyone, and you don't have to go down that path. And there are all these other great opportunities out there for you to embrace.
Indeed. Christina, what your latest graduating class? What did it look like, and what choices did it make?
Yeah, absolutely. So we published our data from our 2023 class, and so we do have a 97% outcomes rate for students going under grad school or full-time jobs there. Our 2024 data will not be released until this upcoming spring, so we've got a little bit of time to finalize that data. So we're in the process of doing that right now. But I anticipate very similar outcomes based on the great conversations we were having with students as they wrapped up their final year here at Gies, and similar answers in terms of certainly our students are interested in consulting and advisory options with the Big Four and other consulting firms. Certainly a huge interest in investment banking on the part of our students and financial roles. So that's very big too. We have a fantastic supply chain program, and so we see students going into a whole variety of operations roles with some of our favorite places to shop, like Target and Kohl's and Macy's, as well as some of your consumer product goods like Pepsi. A whole variety of tech companies come to mind as well. So we have a great program in information systems, and some of our students are going into tech consulting as well. So, it's much broader than just the Big Four or the Big Three. You certainly see students going into a whole host of, really great companies.
Right. And I will say, many people consider this current economy a little uncertain. It's not definitely not a recession, but a lot of companies are waiting on the sidelines to some degree, given the uncertainty in the economy, the high interest rates, the election, and what have you. And it's seeing rates that are 90+% at both your schools is really impressive in this environment. And I have to say that, your kids major in other topics, you ain't going to see rates like this. Just going to tell you. And also the broadness and diversity of the careers. Michael, you mentioned the ABCs, accounting, banking, and consulting, but the range of careers is remarkable. While the big funnels may be in those three, give us a sense of some of the other careers. It may be unexpected or unusual or surprising.
So we've seen a real rise in social media marketing, social media management.
Right.
That's it plays into, and we're seeing a lot of those major companies, the Procter and Gamble. We're lucky in being just outside of Cincinnati. We've got Procter and Gamble and Kroger and Cintas in our backyard, and so getting students to understand that those opportunities exist within those companies is massive. The other field we've seen a ton of growth in is the insurance industry because it is extremely stable. It gets overlooked by some students, but when business schools are preparing students to analyze and interpret so much data, it fits in perfectly into that model. So that's a wonderful growing industry. And we're seeing a lot of the trainee programs that are kind of unexpected with in the supply chain side. So DHL being a major partner for us. But also the rotational programs are starting to make a bit of a comeback, which is fantastic. So trying to get students to understand that there are in manufacturing companies, we've seen more demand than and in encouraging numbers of hiring versus just in the typical kind of corporate position. So working in an operations management capacity for a manufacturing firm or working in the financial planning and analysis roles with those firms, those have become increasingly more, I guess, hireable for our students. They are looking to those more as opposed to those ABCs because they can use those analytical skills. And instead of being an external consultant, they're an internal consultant. We're really embracing the concept of entrepreneurship.
Right. Now, I talk to a lot of young people, and young people often have difficulty deciding what to do. I mean, many people have difficulty making that decision throughout their life, but young people, especially, given all the different opportunities out there. And I wonder, Michael, how do you help support students find the job opportunities that fit with their career goals and their personal values when they may be decided or undecided about what they want to pursue?
It's a fascinating thing for me because I've switched careers, I think 4 times in my life. And so and I kind of feel bad for kids because asking an 18, 19, 20-year-old to know what they want to do for their lives when they really don't know anything at that point, even though they think they know everything, is a bit unfair. So we try to offer a variety of assessments, a lot of self-assessments. The strong interest inventory is one big one. We have interpreters on site that can help students navigate after they take that assessment where they may fit. We do exercises through that Biz 106 course that all students are all freshmen are required to take to help them navigate that. We offer one-on-one counseling with students who are still undecided, especially as they get towards the middle of their second year, when they are getting to that point where they really need to get serious about their career plans and declaring a major and getting things figured out for their future. We will take a pretty intensive role within the office of meeting with those students. The other thing we offer, and it's really popular, is a Business 206 course, which is an additional completely elective course, but it is all about careers exploration. And the first few weeks of that, we do nothing but talk about students and what they value, what they're interested in, what they're passionate about, and what they're skilled in. So they can kind of discover, okay, this fits into my bucket. This works for me. Yeah, I'm interested in becoming an investment banker, but my skills are not in math. So maybe that we look at a different path. So we really try to encourage everyone to look at a variety of careers, not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and take that really holistic approach and give them as much support as they need. We really, really encourage them talking to professionals, especially alumni in the field, because they are going to get the real scoop from those individuals of what it takes to be there. And, you know, it's once they start talking to those individuals, then it's okay. I definitely don't want to be in this, or this sounds fascinating, never knew it existed.
Right. Christina, at Gies, how do you approach this issue of matching personal values, career goals, skill sets with the right job opportunities?
Yeah, I love this question because one of the first things that I like to do is debunk the idea that the decision you make about which major in the business school is going to determine the rest of your life. There's no wrong major in the business school. You're going to learn those skills that are going to really set you up for success, you know, no matter which major. So some of that is just relieving that initial tension about, oh, I have to have the right major for the right career initially. And as long as you're a deciding student, you're doing things, trying things out, totally okay to take some time to figure that out. You know, as mentioned earlier, we do some of the similar activities in our Business 101. Our students get to use a tool called Pathway U, which helps them to align their strengths and their values with potential careers that might be a great fit for them. And so we just spend a good amount of time making sure that they feel confident in understanding who they are, what their professional and personal values are, and how those do align with particular career paths. So all of our students are going to have that experience. For students who want a little bit more, certainly our career advisors love talking about this topic with them, but we have a couple of formal programs students also can participate in, one of which is our career discovery program, and that happens over winter break, both during the freshman and sophomore year, where students can do job shadow experiences with professionals in a variety of settings. So kind of takes that long, boring winter break and turns it into an opportunity to test out a career that might be a good fit or eliminate a career that you find out isn't a good fit. And then that summer following freshman year, our students are able to participate in our CEO program. That's our career exploration and optimization program. And it is an 8-week summer program done virtually where students get to interact with our alumni. They do additional assessments, they do career exploration, they learn about networking, and really come back to school by sophomore year with a really strong understanding of what might be a good career for them. So it's a mix of formal programs, classroom integration, and then just support from our advising team as well.
And I'm imagining there's contact with alums in this process. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your alumni network and how students, in fact, engage with alumni. Christina?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, yeah, the programs I just mentioned highly revolve around our alumni engagement. We really target, especially some of our younger alum. Our students love to get to know what is it really like to be in the first 5 years of your career? You know, what do you do on a daily basis? How did you get there? What clubs or organizations did you do? And so that allows them to build a really strong connection with our alumni. And so we intentionally invite our young alum to participate in a lot of our programs, as well as all of our workshops. We tend to bring in alum to deliver our content. You can talk with a career advisor anytime. We're always happy to give out advice, but it's a lot more impactful when students get to engage with our alum. So most of our events include our alumni. And then, of course, most of our classes bring in industry professionals. So there's always an opportunity in a marketing class, for instance, to hear about what do you actually do as a social media marketer from somebody who was in your seat, you know, 5 to 10 years ago. So really strong network. Our Gies alum love to be involved and love to get back to our students.
What's the size of your alumni network, Christina?
But you know what? That I'm embarrassed to say I don't actually know off the top of my head, but it's huge. It's very huge.
And I will say, you know, you're the namesake of your college, Larry Gies, actually comes and teaches in 1 or 2 courses every single year or so. Some students didn't get the opportunity to actually meet Larry Gies,
Mhm,
who's a very successful entrepreneur and executive in the Chicago area.
mhm.
Michael, talk a little bit about your alumni network at Farmer and how students engage with alums.
So we encourage early and often. They are fantastic about wanting to give back. If you have the chance to come to Oxford, Ohio, it is a beautiful little town, so I can understand why they want to come back. But they are really adamant about coming back and helping out. And it was great to see at the career fair, almost every table had at least one Farmer alum at it. We graduate about 1,000 or so a year, give or take about 50 to 100. So that alumni network is everywhere. Funny enough, our number one feeder area, if you will, is the Chicago area. That's where most our students want to go. So incredibly powerful network there. But we really try to engage them as much as possible. We have an Alumni Connect network that is specifically set up for Miami students and alumni to engage with one another. We have a list that we basically reach out to alumni on a consistent basis that they make themselves available to encourage students to connect and set up a job shadow or at least a conversation, if nothing else. One of the things we do very early on is teach them how to identify alumni on LinkedIn and connect with them effectively, have those coffee chats, those informational interviews, and really get them involved early and often. And like Christina said, the young alumni, the students identify with them so much. I think, talking with us, they see us every day. It's almost like mom and dad talking to them. They start to tune out, but you bring in somebody from the outside that's saying the exact same thing, they will listen a lot more, especially if that person can really identify with them being just a few years out. So if we get I think, and Christine and I have pretty much talked about this before. We get employers coming into the classroom as much as possible to the point where they're teaching sections of courses that are applicable to their industry. And that really gives that great perspective of, how the alumni network can help and what they do. Getting them in touch with that reality is so wonderful.
So, Michael, you and Christina obviously are great ambassadors and believers in business education. And Michael, I wonder if you might reflect on the true value of a business education and how it might evolve over the next 5 to 10 years with the onset of artificial intelligence, the greater interest in sustainability and business analytics,
Yeah.
and just general change.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because we're at this time where we're studying how the AI systems are going to affect various careers. And we're looking at it from a very positive light, where we see AI being able to take away some of the grunt work, some of the less exciting work, and leave that human element that is so vital. And I think that's the value of a business education. It's not just learning the hard skills. It's learning how to apply those concepts that are learned in a meaningful way to impact a business. That's where we see that going. The analytics side, it's such a necessity, and whether they work in various industries, I would say when we look at titles, analyst pops up all the time. I mean, that's it. We see, I think we looked last year, was 45% of our graduates went into an analyst role. We really preach the number side, whether it be in social media marketing, understanding search engine optimization, or it be in marketing analytics and understanding viewer interaction, or of course the financial side, which is so key. One of our rising majors is business analytics and information systems and cybersecurity. That is the major that consistently actually earns the top salaries coming out, and we're really pushing on that double majors in that and our 3+1 master's MSBA. program. So really taking a proactive role, and we're actually exploring the concept of turning our program fully into a STEM program with that emphasis on analytics.
Right. Christina, what would you say is the true value of business education and how it's going to change and evolve over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think like what Michael said, some of it is the value of the skill set that our students are gaining through the program. And I think in particular, the skills that are combined to make our graduates really adaptable, really
Mhm.
flexible as they pivot through their career. There's data that was released that our young graduates are probably changing careers 12 to 17 times. And so having a skill set where you can adapt to a job that AI hasn't taken over, but are very open and eager to embed these new AI tools into your daily tasks really makes you a valuable employee. And so, like Michael said, AI is really exciting. I think it is going to make a lot of jobs more interesting and more fulfilling and less mundane. And I think that's really exciting to our students as well. So I do see that that is a factor that will impact our career trajectories for our students. We just launched 3 new data science majors here. We've got our accountancy plus DS, finance plus DS, and business plus DS. And so, of course, seeing huge interest in our students in embedding data science into their degree and using it in a variety of different fields and industry, and some usually using it just as a complementary skill to their major skill of accounting or finance or information systems. And so certainly I anticipate that we will see huge growth within our Plus DS programs as well. So I think the value here is that we are really on the cusp of making sure our students are ready for an unknown future. But I think our students will be really well positioned to be successful.
Yeah, in many cases, I imagine you're going to prepare them for jobs that don't exist today.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
But one thing that will be necessary is the ability to collaborate with others, to work in diverse workplaces, to work globally, to be able to present and communicate well. These things will never go away and they will serve everyone well. Now, I wonder if you could just give some advice to the parents out there. Okay. So what do you say to parents about, how to help their kids choose the right program for them? I mean, there's so many opportunities within each of your schools in terms of different paths that one can take. And then, the very different schools in different places, and geography plays a role and culture plays a role. So what advice do you have for parents in guiding their students through this process, Christina?
Yeah, this is such a big decision for families to make where a student will launch their career and be supported for 4 or 5 years. And so I understand there's a lot of anxiety around this. And hopefully, students are getting the opportunity to visit, to listen to sessions like this one, and get a good sense for where that school really shines and how well the student will feel supported in that school. I think just as important as how strong the academics are, I think the student support is just as strong. As a parent, I want to know my child has the right resources. There's somebody that cares about my child, and that this is a place where they can be happy at and find a community. So I think those are really important, and hopefully that's something that our families are exploring as they're visiting schools and making sure that there's a well-supported community for their student.
Yeah, right. Michael, your take on that question?
Very similar. I have actually been through this twice now with my own kids,
Ah,
and
right.
understanding, the school the size of Miami is very different than the school the size of UI, is very different than all the little liberal arts college that seem to dot the Midwest, and not everybody fits in those, and that's okay. So finding what is comfortable for the student, the support network that's there, students can really be successful in most colleges once they find their fit. But it's getting to that right thing, and I think being the student being honest with themselves about what they need from their experience is really vital. If they are not, comfortable being away from home, then maybe they need something a little closer. If they are not comfortable being in a big city, then maybe shy away from that. If they are not good at controlling themselves, maybe not look at a party school. So it's but finding that right fit is really important, and then having the support network that's there, having an active career development office, having an active student services office, on the psychological side, because we do understand that is a huge concern to students. Do they have the support when they are flailing a little bit? Because I'm sure it's the same as Gies. Our students are generally high achieving students. They haven't failed an awful lot. They haven't been told no an awful lot. And that first time that they struggle can really be a mental and emotional struggle for them. So making sure they have the support needed. I think it's a very stressful decision, but I think the student being honest with themselves and the parent being honest with themselves about what the student's strengths are, because we'll hear a lot of, we'll talk to a lot of students. Well, why did you go into this major? Well, my dad or mom said this would be stable for me, or this, I can make a lot of money in this. And it's like, well, you can if you were actually good at it. So
Yes.
we hear a lot of that with finance and some of the quantitative fields, especially because they generally do pay well. But a 2.7 student with a finance degree, we're going to be able to, if they have a 3.5 in marketing or 3.8 in marketing because it's their better fit, we're going to be able to help them be much more successful than forcing them to kind of struggle through something they are not good at.
True. And Michael, you raised a really important point there about sort of psychological safety. I mean, it's been widely reported that this is a generation that feels a lot of anxiety and stress. They had to go through the pandemic. They saw their parents struggle sometimes through the last recession. And mental health has become a much bigger issue in the undergraduate field. Christina, how does Gies address that? Because that transition from high school to moving away from school, from your family, and attending a school, it's basically now you're on your own. You're on your own 2 feet. You're independent. It's a big transition in and of itself. And then add on a generation of people who've been through the pandemic and through a financial crisis, and you have a recipe for a lot of stress and anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mental health is a top priority in Gies. And so we have really prioritized making sure that students have both access and have integrated services. So we actually have an embedded mental health counselor within our college. She has an office right down the hall from me. And so she has availability for Gies students who have unique concerns and needs. And so she's really accessible to our students, which I think emphasizes how important we understand mental health concerns are for our students. We also have what's called the Success Lab. And while it is a place for tutoring and some academic support, they do a lot of strong mental health programming as well. And it could be that they encourage students during finals week to come in color, or they have health like wellness kits that the students can walk away and take with them when they're really stressed. And so there's a lot of intentionality around programming and resources and making sure our students feel supported and that it's safe to use those resources. That's why they're here.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for participating in this. This has really been eye-opening. Christina Wright at the University of Illinois Gies College of Business, who is Director of Office of Career and Professional Development, and Michael Webb from Miami University's Farmer School of Business, who is Director of Career Development. Now, for all of you folks out there, you inevitably have questions. And we decided that we're not going to answer them during the career session, which we just had, or the admission session that we had before, but that instead we'll have an actual Q&A chat session with each school at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a half an hour. You'll have a chat session on Gies. And then at 6:30 to 7 o'clock, we'll have the Q&A chat session with Miami Farmer. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. And I hope your journey for your child into the college space is a good one. Do your homework, do your research, go and visit the schools, and ask all the questions that are obvious to help make the right fit. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for watching.